Well, it's Friday, the 15th of November in the year 2024. Thank you so much for making time to join us tonight for this exclusive edition of Diamond Live, where we continue analyzing and breaking down the day's biggest news stories. I'm your host. My name is Andrew Mwansa. Coming up on the program tonight, we'll be speaking to Leadership Movement President in Dr. Richard Silumbe as we discuss the newly announced critical issue by the president that government is in the process of introducing a voluntary national service program for school leavers as part of efforts to ensure that young people have skills that will make them productive citizens. This is one of the agendas that the leadership movement has been pushing for in terms of ensuring that the young people get into the national service. But also we'll look at their performance in the by-elections as we also look at whether they're considering entering into any alliance. We start the show with Today in a Snap. It's obviously a great Friday, an exciting Friday, and a Friday that Zambians will not forget, at least for this particular year, because the Chipolopolo boys have once again made the country very happy. This is after they won the game between themselves and Ivory Coast that was played today in Ndola. They won that game 1-0, and that means that the Chipolopolo boys are the ones that are topping the table with 10 points. Ivory Coast comes second with 9 points. This is part of the KPI for Coach Avram Grant, because one of the things that he had said in terms of his KPIs was to ensure that he qualifies the boys to the AFCON 2025, which begins in January. Look forward to the Chipolopolo and how they're going to perform in their last game against Sierra Leone. And obviously, whether they lose or draw, the boys have already qualified for AFCON 2025. But in studio, I'm privileged to have Leadership Movement President in Dr. Richard Silumbe. Obviously a big night. Doc, good evening.
Well, thank you very much once again for giving me this opportunity to be on Diamond TV. Thank you very much.
Obviously an exciting night for all of us Zambians, soccer lovers, but also just generally all of us Zambians, because the Chipolopolo boys have once again made us happy by qualifying to the AFCON.
Yes, definitely it's a very good day for us. Personally, it reminds me of 12 years ago when we beat Ivory Coast and we got the cup. Yep. In Libreville. So that is a very good moment, and especially that we have Stopela Sunzu, the man who made it possible with the last goal that made us win. And we are very happy. I followed that game and I said to myself, it took me like in a time machine, 12 years ago when we got the Africa Cup in 2012.
Any particular word to the Chipolopolo boys, especially now that they've qualified for AFCON 2025? But also, maybe I should ask this broad question in terms of, are there any specific plans that you have for sports as a leadership movement?
As you are aware, leadership movement, we put Zambia first, and we want to support our local games, our local team, and all that. We want to develop Zambia from inside out. That means supporting young people to expound themselves, to rediscover themselves, and sport is inclusive. That's the agenda for the leadership movement. This is why our 4-point plan focuses on developing the country holistically, as both economically, sport-wise, and in all areas, so that we as a people, we are self-sustainable and we are able to appreciate what God has given us. This is the sermon that we preach as leadership movement, and we have the sports inclusive in our agenda. And what the Chipolopolo boys are doing is very impressive, and we support it as leadership movement.
When we're back from the break, we discuss all issues, the process of introducing a voluntary national service program for school leavers as part of the efforts to ensure that young people have skills that will make them productive citizens. The president believes reintroduction of national service training for youths is a good way of nurturing nurturing disciplined citizen. We're going to be talking to these issues and many other issues right after these short messages. I'm going to be speaking with Dr. Richard Silumbe, who is president of the leadership movement. Well, thank you so much for joining us on channel 271 on DSTV and channel 20 on GoTV. But also thank you so much to those that are joining us online on our Facebook page, that is Diamond TV Online. You can be a part of the conversation by commenting on the comment section and giving us your contribution over the issues that we have on the table. But also you can take advantage of the line on the screen to call in and be able to give your contribution regarding the issues that we have on the table tonight. Dr. Richard Silumbe, once again, good evening. Thank you so much for making time to speak to the Zambians tonight on Diamond Live.
Thank you.
We couldn't think of anybody better to speak about issues around what government has pronounced, and obviously this is coming through from the head of state to the effect that government is in the process of introducing a voluntary national service program for school leavers as part of efforts to ensure the young people have skills that will make them productive. What is your reaction as leadership movement to this very bold decision that the president made?
Well, my first reaction is that it validates what the leadership movement has been talking about. Remember, I came here 2021, I spoke about Zambia owning its own mines, Zambia owning its own natural resources such as land and be productive. We talked about ZNS employing or recruiting young people in millions so that they can become productive. We have state farms in every district. We can have ZNS run mines wherever we have minerals. And these are the statements that I spoke about and I continue speaking about, and many Zambians, because we have been brainwashed. And the reaction was that we are bringing Zambia back to the Stone Age. But today it justifies because the Zambian people have now seen that the UPND that they voted for, which was running on capitalism, which said when they come into power, Americans are going to give them money and Zambians will live happily ever after because Americans will bring money and foreign investors. That didn't work. What has happened to them? Now they are now looking for ideas that can make them relevant because the economy is melting. Look at the prices of mealie meal and everything. They are going down. Now they have opted to look for the real ideas, the 5 beta kappa key to development, and those are the issues. And it justifies the fact that the future of this country's development lies in the energy of the young people. Young people must be invested, the energy must be invested into production. And when we produce products, be it ZNS state farms, be it ZNS run mines, copper mines, and so on and so forth, and we are seeing the UPND going in that direction, that's a good thing for the country. We as leadership movement, we are happy that at least we are seeing now the UPND government learning from us, because as leadership movement, we are the authors of development that is sustainable. And we like the fact that they are learning slowly, and we'll keep giving them ideas so that they can know how best to do it. Like, for instance, when we look at the statement that I saw from the head of state, I was, as much as I am happy that they are talking about ZNS, I wonder why we are still having a wrong mindset. Because when you have a wrong mindset to an idea, then you are getting it wrong. For instance, we saw the president saying the purpose of ZNS is to instill discipline in the young people and to proliferate street kids. That is a wrong mindset. We want the UPND to get it right, get the mindset right. The purpose of ZNS is production. Get the things right. UPND will never go anywhere, and they are not going to turn the economy around for as long as they are running on a wrong mindset. The purpose of ZNS is production. We need to tell the young people that we want to tap into your energy, the most precious natural resources, so that we can invest their energy into production. We produce products that can turn into tangible products that can bring the cost of meal down, the cost of all the things we are suffering from to come down because we are producing. That is the essence, not disciplining. If you are talking about discipline, then you have the mindset wrong. And what will happen is that you are scaring young people. We want young people to come into ZNS and be part of the Zambian story, invest their energy, we become productive. But when you tell them that, oh, there is disciplining, you are sending a wrong message. And this ZNS is going to fail, is doomed to fail like the way the government of Kenneth Kaunda failed, because the purpose was disciplining, instilling discipline and all that. But that is not the agenda.
What is the whole purpose? Because you've consistently, Doc, spoken about ZNS being the ones to be in the forefront to run some of these productive sectors. What is it about ZNS that you consistently keep pushing? Why can't you just call for people that are not even part of ZNS, to be part of the production sector of our country? Why ZNS to be particular? I ask that because the president in his speech says that he wants for him, the ultimate goal is to instill discipline, in these young people. Isn't it that you wanted disciplined young people to be the ones to run the productive sectors?
That is the difference in the mindset. We have, on the other hand, the government being run by people with a wrong mindset. Their essence of ZNS is to provide discipline to the young people. That's not our agenda. Our agenda is production. Our agenda is to answer to the problems of the Zambian people. Look at the cost of meal. Look at the cost of everything. We need production. The only way to produce is by ensuring that we tap into the energy of the young people. Educated or not educated, everybody has got something to contribute to the development of this country. That's the message we are sending out there, to tap into the energy of the young people so that they can participate in ZNS. It's Zambia National Service. Zambia National Service. Don't you feel insulted, for instance, when you hear that they are abusing ZNS, that it is selling meal that is imported, GMO per se, imported and repackaged, and they sell it at 270 kwacha, and they say it's ZNS. How can a Zambia National Service be costing that much? This is the ideology behind. Zambia National Service should provide a service to the Zambian people, which is affordable. And in that service, everyone can participate, educated or not educated, as long as they have energy. For instance, if a young person is able to hold a pick and a shovel, we have manganese in Mukushi, we can put up a ZNS mine and get manganese and sell and make profit out of it. If a young person can hold a hoe, a pick and a shovel, we can have state farms. They can work in state farms. If a young person, for instance, is a good bricklayer, for instance, somebody is a good bricklayer, he builds, and he cannot get a job because you are looking for a certificate and everything. Under ZNS, that person can expound their talent. They can be good builders, they can be good bricklayers, they can be good carpenters, and we can produce tangible products. That is ZNS. That is the essence. It's production, 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 not what we are seeing under the UPND government.
I'll be coming back to the aspect of production. We've seen that every time there's a recruitment of young people into the Zambia National Service, obviously there is a minimum requirement and criterion for these people to be, to enter into the service. What are your expectations now that government has announced this voluntary, ZNS? Do you expect that there should be some form of minimum requirement, even as a volunteer? There should be some form of minimum requirement.
After speaking too much about the issue of ZNS, at least the UPND has gotten something out of it. Number one, there is no country in this world go to America, go to Russia, go to Ukraine. Somebody joining the army being asked to produce a grade 12 certificate with 5 O levels, 6 points, doesn't make sense. That is a colonial mindset. And we have been talking about this. No one should be talking about papers in these areas of service. ZNS inclusive. The idea that people should be having 15 points to go to ZNS is colonized mindset. Let the government realize that they are so colonized. They need to remove the veil of colonialism and start looking at what a Zambian can offer. A young person, able-bodied, is able to work, is able to do something. Everybody has got something to contribute, educated or not educated. That's the message that we are sending to the ground. We want to muntu onse. Umwina Zambia, nganiwebo youth, uli msepera, kuti wabomba, kuti waikata piki, kuti waikata shave, ufire wabomba mzedenes. Walishi boku tamenjerwa, kuti wabomba. Walishi boku kubasembao, kuti wabomba. Walishi boku kula, kuti wabomba. Note atawe karufe waleta certificate umuntu waishiwo kukula alishiwo ni bricklayer wa mano lero alishiwo kupanga fyonse mulefu afyo muntu wa mapepa nichitamwishiwo fo mulechita pamonge chalo ifwe pamonga ba leadership movement na tuishiwo kwatu mwina Zambia onse ali kwata efu inga sa contribute mukutwale chalo chespantage umuntu onse kwate talenta and purpose ya leadership kumone talanta la muntu uli wonse nokutapinga nokutaking advantage pakwati yo muntu aisho kwati nangulileta ku school ali kwatofenga sa contribute mukutwale cha chako pantage pantu muno mwine mcharo omwaka shaba na bakwe pantu lesanga na mpelo omweo ninshi kuti asa contribute a purpose ya ZNS yesu pamunga ba leadership movement. That's why today andokwe bati mushita yesu turefa millions of young people bakwata enjito baba mu ZNS tuwakwata ma state farms monse ma district tuwakwata ma ZNS mine noti bamwisa bali tusendera umukuba natwikarati yo natukwata is illegal mining turefo mwina Zambia onse aitumpa muli mining ulefa mining ngani ZNS aingira ku ZNS tuambusa producing ngani copper ngani gold ngani manganese fyonse under ZNS no muntu wonse uiperesha ukweta maka. That is production we are talking about. To what extent? And this is not what you are seeing under the UPND government.
To what extent, Doc, do you think that this initiative by government will highly reduce the unemployment rate, especially among young people?
First of all, the statement itself, it has scared young people already. You can't say there is voluntary ZNS, and the purpose of that ZNS is to discipline people. You are bringing Zambia to the 1980s, where people felt like in ZNS, when young people finish their Form 5, trucks are waiting for them with police officers beating them up, putting them in trucks. They go to ZNS. Others die of frustration. Others are depressed, and so on and so forth. Therefore, that idea made ZNS become something to fear. And that is not the kind of ZNS we want to run as leadership movement. That is the ZNS the UPND government is marketing. And who is going to go there voluntarily when he knows that there is going to be instilled? Discipline will be instilled in him. What's the purpose?
Is there anything wrong with discipline, Doc?
Imagine the difference in messaging. Imagine if somebody says, when you go to ZNS, you are a hero for this country, because we as leaders, our responsibility is to tap into what is best in every Zambian, in every person. So you go there with a positive mindset that you are contributing, you are taking your country from the shambles of these economic doldrums we have into another level. And that Zambian will be thrilled with energy and will be inspired to participate in ZNS. Now the message of disciplining. The message of discipline involves panel beating that person, the beatings and so on and so forth, and possibly torture, so that those people now they can be fear, there can be fear there, and they are changed, and those issues that surround discipline, they shouldn't be the main purpose of ZNS. The main purpose of ZNS should be production, and along the way, because of production, desire, and because of the inspiration that people get into expounding what God has given to them, they are going to participate in ZNS, and that country is going to grow.
This government has already exhibited what you're talking about. They've exhibited that the ZNS can enter into production. For example, now we speak of ZNS millimill. That is pretty much cheaper than the ordinary millimill. Now we speak of the announcement that was made by ZNS commander, Maliti Solochi, who disclosed that by 2027, the service is expected to open a copper mine in the northwestern province. Don't you think what you're talking about today or tonight, Doc, is what the UPND are doing, that they're using the service for production? They've already begun to produce, millimill. In Rwanda, the national service in Rwanda is producing electricity for the whole country. And now this government seems to be taking the same direction.
So in that case, what we can say as leadership movement, we can even at least boast, brag that, we have been teaching. Pamonga Kafundisha Wachalo, as president of the leadership movement, I've been talking about that. And the positive thing that is happening is that these people are now learning that there is no way out from the so-called capitalism, looking for investors. We spoke about these things when no one could even believe us, but now they are learning, and it's a good thing. Now what we want as leadership movement is for them to get the mindset right. When we are talking about production, it's a good thing. The statement by Solochi is a good thing, and I applauded that. Let us produce, let us have our hands in copper. It's a good thing. We are not saying it's a bad thing. We want them to implement it rightly. And that, in fact, 2027 is far-fetched. We needed that by yesterday. Where if the UPND listened to leadership movement, by today would be yelling checkmates on the economic arena, because ZNS would be having mines, would be producing gold, would be producing manganese, copper, and everything. But today, those UPND brainwashed supporters who thought that using ZNS is getting back to the Stone Age, or it is going back to the past, they are now learning that what leadership movement has been saying is the 5 better copper key to development, the only way to development. If you want development as a country, like all these developed countries, they tap into the energy of their citizens, and it's a good thing. But the problem lies in the fact that you are producing ZNS millimill, and yet you don't have ZNS farms, and yet we don't have millions of young people producing. No wonder you are insulting the term ZNS, because you can't ascribe ZNS to a millimill that is costing 250 kwacha. That's an insult to ZNS. And UPND, they better get it right. ZNS starts from production. You can't start selling maize or millimill when you don't have state farms. We want state farms now. We want millions of young people in production. Then the ZNS millimill will have the value that it needs to have. And you see a better future, Doc. Obviously, the reason for why we opted to be speaking about this ZNS millimill is because we're hard hit by the drought. And the milling companies obviously, had no option, all right, but to raise, the millimill prices. But also now, the meteorological department has projected that we're going to have, normal to above, normal rainfall in this, rainfall season. With the coming in of ZNS, Doc, don't you think, obviously we're going to have a bumper harvest, but also don't you think that the future looks very bright in terms of Zambia and in terms of their economic outlook? And I speak to, 2 millimill. First of all, I want the UPND to get the mindset right. Number one, we want the UPND to understand how to use ZNS and what the term ZNS means. It seems the UPND doesn't understand that. I'm addressing the UPND now. Let them. I want you to take a pen and a piece of paper and write these points right away. ZNS means Zambia National Service. And before you can institute a service, you need to have enough human capital. Number one, we need national recruitment of young people, educated or not educated, into ZNS for production purposes. We need state farms in every district. When we have those things and we start producing, not that kind of a joke we saw. How do it's joking with ZNS. You go and buy a state farm from Zambia at 13.5 million US dollars. You are joking, and you are scamming the Zambian people. Get the facts right. ZNS means having human capital that is able to till the land, cultivate, produce, and sell at a very cheap price, because it is a service to the Zambian people. What we are seeing now is not a service. How many people in Mrs. can afford a ZNS milli meal or at 270 kwacha? Look at the poverty there. Look at how people are suffering, how people are surviving on Pamela and all these things, which have also gone up in terms of prices. We are killing the Zambian people. All we want as leadership movement is the UPND government to get the mindset right. The anchor point of all these things is production. Let us not scam the people like the way we scammed them in 2021. When we said, oh, Bali will fix this. Look at all that fixing hype that we saw in 2021. We were insulting the Zambian people, and all that has turned out into a scam, because the cost of fuel has gone up. The cost of milli meal 3 times, 4 times high. The cost of everything has gone up. Look at the dollar. The dollar, which was supposed to come down at 14 hours, it is now at 28 kwacha per dollar. That is an insult. Now we need to get the facts right. This is why I'm saying I want the UPND government to listen carefully and jot some points and start implementing things with the mindset of saving the Zambian people, not the mindset of scamming the Zambian people, blindfolding the Zambian people. When the Zambians know what is at stake, you cannot go and say we are introducing ZNS because we want to discipline Zambians. Doesn't make sense. We want ZNS because we want every Zambian who has energy, every Zambian who has nothing to do, finally to find the reason to live, finally to have the purpose in their lives to contribute to the development of this country. That is the purpose of leadership. Leadership that taps into what is best in every Zambian. Not leadership that polices the Zambian people. As much as that is important, but that is not the center of all these activities that we want to achieve. The purpose is production, to redeem the economy. If Zambians understand this, you are going to see ZNS. All these policies are going to be a success. But for as long as the mindset of the people who are implementing these things, it is wrong. It's a wrong mindset. They are living in a wrong paradigm. They don't even know what this country needs. They don't even know how to prioritize production.
How quick?
Then we are doomed, and the steps, they may look promising as they are for us, because we know that that's the direction, but they are doing it in a wrong way. Therefore, we are not going to reach the intended needs, which is actually production and growing the economy with the energy of the young people and the country resource that we have, which is number one, human capital.
How quick do you expect government to roll out, this program? And you clearly mentioned that you have a blueprint on how this could perfectly, work for the country. But before you could, respond to that question, we've got James calling us from Ndola. James, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening, James.
Yeah, good evening. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. Hope Ndola is okay.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I am hearing this topic, and it's well interested. Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead, we can hear you.
I'm well interested to add something there. Hello?
Yes, go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah, I am interested to hear that topic. Hello?
Go ahead, we can hear you. Just keep talking, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm interested to hear that topic. How are you? How are you?
We are getting you. Thank you very much.
Go
you
ahead,
can
sir.
go ahead and contribute.
Now, the problem is this. Okay.
All right. James Malopa, you can kind of, call back. We were able to hear you, but you're just supposed to get to your point. This is an encouragement to all of our callers. We can hear you when you speak. Just quickly get, to, your contribution as you call in. Continue calling us on the number that is on the screen. My question again, Doc, was, on you claim to have the blueprint on how well this ZNS issue could be rolled out and how beneficial, it could be for the country. I asked earlier on, Doc, the UPND only has about, about 16 months in office before the next election. How best do you think they can roll out this program, and how quick must they roll out this program, Doc?
If the UPND government had the, the mindset of production, if they had the willpower, this by today would be experiencing bumper harvest everywhere. We would be having a lot of products. We would be even making serious inroads in our mining sector. But because they do not have the willpower, they have millions of their followers, cadres, who have nothing to do now. They promise them that when they come into power, work, jobs will be available. There are no jobs. We expected the UPND government to suspend all other programs and focus on production, raise a focus on production, and ensure that we have millions of young people absorbed into production centers by today. And it takes only 1 year, only one season, we would be seeing a lot of products everywhere, and would be seeing the economy getting to shape. When we are talking about a disaster and we declare a state of emergency and we have nothing to do, we are waiting for people to give us aid, that is not the way to go. This must be a serious thing. For instance, I can give you an example of in places of war, in war zone, people are able to make roads within a short period of time. People are able to use human capital, massive human capital, to build many things, even to roll out weapons in a state of war. We expected the UPND government to declare a state of emergency and create an environment of a state of war. How does that work out? Where you put all the energy of the young people into production, and they should know that for us to fight poverty, we need millions of young people. We need production. And if that is rolled out, we expect only 1 month to resuscitate the economy. But where do we send our money? In very useless undertakings. Look at the bills that we are creating in the so-called recruitments that are nowhere to be seen. We prioritize teachers, recruitment of teachers who should be paid 10,000 kwacha per person. And we say this is the most important thing. As a leadership movement, the most important thing would have been primary jobs. Recruiting young people, educated or not educated, into ZNS for production, because that will earn us products, be it gold, be it copper, be it anything, and create the Mineral Reserve Agency and have those products that the president, when he's moving, he can be talking about selling gold, selling manganese, selling cobalt, selling everything, all those things coming from ZNS. But what do? They prioritize teachers. It doesn't mean that I hate teachers. My father was a teacher. I'm essentially a teacher myself. I call myself Kafundisha Wacharo. What I do is surrounds teaching. But I know that that is not the most important thing. The most important thing, even when you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is food. People need to eat first. Before they can be educated, they need to have food. They should be able to afford meals, at least for them to have energy to work, even to go to school. But a government comes into power, prioritizes education, and leaves the economy on a free fall. We could have arrested that in one season, and that would have been history. Look at the so-called drought, which wasn't even food drought, and it came in the 3rd year of their term. What was happening in the 1st year? What was happening in the 2nd year? Nothing. The UPND government has categorically failed Now they want to rediscover themselves and want to help them rediscover themselves because they are in power and we are not in power. The only thing we can do is to talk and give them ideas, and we want these ideas to be implemented rightly, not where they use the mindset with which they came with as beggars for investors, meanwhile running ZNS. This is where the things are getting wrong. You have a mindset of a beggar who is looking for foreigners and foreign aid and foreign investment, and you are running ZNS, which should be run by people with the mindset of self-sustained leaders who only believe in their own people. UPND government doesn't believe in the Zambian people. We believe in the Zambian people. We believe in the energy of the young people. We believe in every Zambian because every Zambian has got something to contribute. Whether walisambira na mtawasambira walikwata something italanto lesakupera. That is what the leadership movement wants. We want to tap into that. Nganwebo kabasawa mbao, we want you. Nganwebo katamawanjelwa, we want you. Nga walikwate talante lyonse ulabira ulachitenshi, we want you in ZNS, and we are going to make this country bigger and better because we believe in the Zambian people. It's only the Zambian people who can build this country, nobody else. Never expect all these foreigners. They can talk about millions. All that that circus we are seeing, people are taking bigger machinery. All that money will never benefit any Zambian. They are using all that for their own benefits. They will produce copper and sell it to their own countries, to other countries, and get the profits, or as it is, and they will come here and lie that they have made losses. We need Zambian-run mines, Zambian-run production centers. That's the only answer to our future and the future generations.
Don't you think the UPND has been quite methodical in terms of how they are running this country? You said, what were they doing in their first year, in their second year? Yes, you're giving them a break in their third year because of the drought that affected about 84 out of 116, districts. But maybe what they're focusing on in the first and second year is rolling out the free education, ensuring that money goes closer to the people by increasing, CDF. Maybe they are preoccupied with ensuring that people still participate, in the production of their country at a district level by the provision of CDF, where they can apply for CDF. They've also rolled out programs of, for those that are not educated. They've rolled out skills training, for those that are uneducated within this CDF. You don't think those are some of the scores that they've done so far?
As much as they are important, but they are not the priority. Where we differ with the UPND government is the prioritization process.
And also part of the major issue that they're working on, Doc, is the debt restructuring, which they managed to give the Zambian people.
All those things are just semantics. I can assure you, if we had leaders, true leaders, in 2021, the debt restructuring is just a song. It is neither there nor there, nothing at all. First of all, let me tell you, all these people who give us money, all that debt is meant to enslave you and me. It's to enslave the country, to give you BP so that you are always thinking, oh, I have debt, so that you can't focus on production. If we had a government like ours, like the leadership movement, who would have suspended all talks about debt, about anything, we would have declared that this country, for the next 5 years, we have issues, we don't have money to give anybody, we have only money to invest in production. We are going to rediscover ourselves. Once we rediscover the new Zambia with its economy, then we can answer to all those debts. This is why, are you not surprised why we are giving debt cancellation? The same debt, you can't even pay it if you want. They don't care. That is only meant to enslave you. Don't think that these people, they will die when we don't give them debt, or they will kill you, or they will come and fight us. They will never. It's all propaganda. It's all papers that have got nothing. In essence, the interest of giving you those papers is for them to have the passport the diplomatic passport to come and get your resources, get your copper, get your gold, get your everything, and run your affairs. That's the purpose of all that debt. If it were leadership movement government, would simply say, we have no time to talk. We are not going to talk. Understand us, we have 5 years to recover the country's economy, and we are going to invest everything in production and bring the country back to its feet. Then we can discuss debt. That is how leaders who put their people first think. But the UPND government, they don't care about the Zambian people. They care about their sponsors, about those people who helped them come into power. This is why they focused on debt restructuring, and they were talking about foreign investors. Are you not surprised that the first statement we got from the UPND government is to give tax holidays and tax breaks to mining companies? And they said for the reason for giving them tax holidays is to make them grow bigger and better and employ more Zambians. What did we get 1 year down the line? A shrinked production and less employment. Because why should they employ more people when they have been given a passport to produce more profits?
When you say less employment, where? Because from the time the UPND came into office in 2021, Doc, we've seen the resumption of these mines that were closed, that went on care and maintenance under the Patriotic Front, and also I've seen the expansion of some of these mines that are bringing, in fact, we've attracted over $8 billion, dollars into the mining sector from 2021 since the UPND came into office. And they say, and they pride themselves, in that if there's any sector that they've performed extremely well, is in the mining sector. They've brought back Mopani into life. KCM is back into life. Shaft 28, we're speaking about dewatering, and very soon, by next year, or the other year, we'll begin mining, there, as well as these other mines. You don't see that as a progressive move towards creation of employment, but also towards forex.
Just imagine, you are talking about $8 billion US dollars coming into this country. Is it not true? 8 billion US dollars come into this country. Who is the beneficiary to that 8 billion? Tell me one person. Go to the Copper Belt, go and see the poverty there. Look at the whole country, how poverty-stricken it is. Look at the economy, how it is shrinking. These are the things we talk about because you have leaders who are colonized. They can't even see, they can't even come out of the box. They hear those sentiments, those billions that are just on paper, that don't even hit this country. They don't even come in the country. It's nothing, it's all about theories. That money will never even reach Bank of Zambia. You go to Bank of Zambia. Has Bank of Zambia benefited from that 8 billion? Nothing. It's just on paper. And this is how they continue colonizing this country. We don't want theory money. We want money that we can produce using our own energy and our own efforts. We produce products so that the president, instead of talking about how Mopani has brought 8 billion that you have never seen, we want the president to go out there and talk about how much copper, millions of metric tons he has in reserve under the mineral reserve agency that he wants to sell to China. That is the kind of leadership that we want to bring about as leadership movement because we do not believe in this colonized way of doing things that the UPND government has brought into this country.
You claim, Doc, that the UPND has lamentably failed to run this country. But this is the same UPND that continues to win your party in by-elections. 3/4 of the by-elections that we've had from 2021 have been won by the ruling party, the UPND. The party that you claim that has become unpopular, the party that you claim has failed to deliver to the Zambian people, but the Zambian people are still voting for them.
There's a difference between voting, getting votes, and delivering to the Zambian people. Let me break this down to you, for you. Here is a situation. At the by-election there, we are dealing with Zambians who the government machinery has got the power to give each one 50 kwacha, food for work and everything, and people are barely surviving. It's like somebody who is on oxygen, and he cannot let go of that oxygen. He's in a coma. The moment you remove that oxygen, they may die. So they will keep on benefiting from the government, just barely surviving. We as leadership movement, we are not worried about the by-elections or what the people, because this government, which swindled the Zambian people, told them that it's going to bring foreigners, Americans are coming to bring money, and millions of the people voted. And they said ZNS is nothing, is outdated. So our purpose as leadership movement is to re-educate the Zambian people, the masses, because those people are giving the UPND votes. Believe me, they are just as colonized as their government. And our purpose...
Are you insulting the voters on this platform?
I'm telling the truth. Let me tell you this. I'm not here to ask for votes. I'm here to re-educate the people. Our purpose is not to seek votes. We are not those politicians who come, kneel down to a voter, asking for a vote. After that, they swindle the country. They leave it worse than they found it. That is not that's not the kind of leadership that we are bringing as a leadership movement. This is why we are a leadership movement. Our purpose is to tell the Zambian people the truth and to re-educate them so that they know what is valuable to them.
Let's speak to the Zambian people from Ulwansha. Thank you so much. San Simukoko calling us from Ulwansha.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Mr.
I've never rang any call at any station. This is my first time, and I'm surprised. That is Sani Shumkopo, S-O-N-Y.
Okay, go ahead.
Kopo. So now, I'm surprised. I want to know something from this doctor. Is he one person who has gone to national service before? Has he ever been to national service? If he hasn't gone to national service, he shouldn't talk about things he doesn't know. Because I, for one, I'm 5 years old. I went to national service. When he talks about national service not doing very well and having state farms, the national service had a lot of farms in our time. When we were taken from school to go there, we found the places were so mechanized. You don't just need these chaps, you take them there, they start you a hole. You can't do anything. You need the mechanization to do something better. Now he's talking, going back, where you pick chaps, they start using a hoe. You can't. So when you debate nicely. Not the way you are talking because you just want to attack the government, things like that. I've never run any studio. This is my first time in my life. But I felt I should talk something like that.
Thank you so much.
So, doctor, when you are talking, talk something you know. If you don't know anything, you just keep quiet. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Doc will respond to your concern. Doc?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy that he has been to ZNS, and I want to address that specifically because the very reason why we're talking about ZNS production is because we know that there was a ZNS that was thriving before, that was productive, and it was ruined because of the change of policy. The perception of ZNS was changed, and the reason for closing ZNS was a lot of people were deserting from ZNS. There were so many scandals, and that's how they closed it. Those are the issues I'm addressing. But by and large, ZNS is for production. So the caller he hasn't gotten me right because somehow he's a UPND supporter. He feels injured. But let me tell you the truth. I'm here to tell you that ZNS, its purpose is production. This is why you are producing. ZNS is not for jokes that we are seeing today, where you go, you import maize, you unpack, and then you start selling a ZNS mini meal, which is costing at 270 kwacha. That is not ZNS. So don't tell the people lies by saying that you are resuscitating the ZNS that was in the Kaunda era, which was very, very well, very productive, and it was thriving. We want a ZNS that is productive. That is what we want.
Another concern that he had, Doc, was that, look, perhaps at the time that Kaunda was president of this country, we didn't have mechanization, we didn't have, advanced technology. Now we live, in an advanced technological, world where you need to use technology for you to enhance your production. So he's concerned that why must people begin to use pigs and shovels when we've gone past that stage. But before you answer that question, again, we are back on the copperboard. We have Musonda calling us from the Chijabombwe. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, the interviewer and the person who's giving us some heads up on ZNS.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, please.
Good evening.
He's talking sense. That's code because I'm following keenly what that gentleman is saying on that TV panel. But then my concern is the previous caller who just said he's 35 years old and he went to ZNS after grade 12. Please don't mislead the nation. Anyone who's 40 years old never had an opportunity to go to ZNS.
You are right.
Never. So if people want to contribute, they should not just shoot down even a very progressive program that people who are following. We know ZNS can do a lot of things like the way the gentleman has said. ZNS is actually, it's not Army or ZNS or ZAF. ZNS is an auxiliary unit which Kaunda created in doing agriculture, construction, and so much civil works. Where, even like the way the gentleman is saying there, that even somebody who doesn't have a tertiary education can actually be enrolled or employed and do such. Even people who got just craft certificates can actually be used in construction, in building, in agriculture activities. So the gentleman there is on point, and we should not shoot down for the sake of being partisan politics. We should not shoot down certain things. The gentleman there is actually on point. That gentleman who called is 35 years old. I'm 53 years old. I completed school in 1991. I never had an opportunity to go for ZNS. How can a 35-year-old say he went for ZNS? Please, let's not mislead the nation and shoot down people who got progressive ideas. Good evening and proceed. And the doctor, don't be intimidated by that caller. He does not seem to know what he wants to. Thank you very much. Proceed.
Oh, thanks so much, Sonda Chipasha, for calling us. Seems like we've got most of the calls from the copperboard tonight. But my question, to you, Doc, and the concern that the gentleman that called earlier on had was that we've moved, Doc, to a stage now where we need to begin to speak about enhancing productivity by using advanced technology. But you seem to be advancing the agenda of people picking shovels.
Yeah, so this is, let me just address, I'm happy that before I could even touch his point, the caller just previously has clarified. Actually, I'm 43 years old. I never had an opportunity to go to ZNS. And the 35-year-old, because he's brainwashed, these are the voters I'm talking about that you are saying I'm insulting. I'm not insulting. I want to panel beat their heads. I'm not here to ask for their votes. I want to re-educate them together with the UPND government. This is why you are seeing the UPND government, which was adamant on foreign investors and capitalism. They are now changing thanks to our existence, because we are teachers. We are re-educating the system. Our purpose is to re-educate the nation. So we don't worry about all these brainwashed voters who say, oh, it's not possible. You are talking about a pick and a shovel. The world has moved. The UPND is saying, no, we can't use this. We just need foreigners. That's the colonial mindset we want to panel beat in the Zambian people's minds. You are talking about mechanization. Where is your industry? Have you produced a bulldozer yourself? Have you ever produced a machine as a Zambian? That is colonialism. You are colonized. We want to start from what we can be proud of. These are the people who go, wapali wa neighbor, neighbor bandibali winner. You are bragging over what you have not even worked for. Walikala watandara kuri banko bobe, wayole yumfa banko bandibali winner. That is the kind of mindset. We as leadership movement, we don't want that. We want to look at ourselves as truly as we are. We want to look into the mirror and see, find our soul there. And the soul there is only the Zambian people and what we can afford to make. And starting from there, we start tilling our land. We produce, we sell, and from there we sprout out. We make money. If we run a ZNS mine, we can make money and buy machinery that we want. If we run a gold mine under ZNS, even when we started with picks and shovels, we are going to get the gold, sell the gold, buy bulldozers, and the following year we buy more mechanization. And in 5 years' time, we're going to have mechanized industries. That is the procedure of development, not these brainwashed people from, brainwashed politicians who are used by foreigners to keep this country drowned in this level because of colonialism. This is why you are seeing they are winning all by-elections, simply because Zambians do not know the truth. The same Zambian, imagine a Zambian who lives on a 10-hectare land. He has not been given a title deed, and he doesn't have anything attached to that land. Then the government will go and say, we are bringing FISIP to you, half measure of fertilizer, and social cash transfer 500 kwacha per month. We are saying to such Zambians that demand your title deeds. When you are given a title, you are empowered. That is empowerment. That's true empowerment. And we are going to help you based on that. Those are the fundamental truths that we are selling to the Zambian people.
Thank you so much,
and
Doc.
Unfortunately, they need time, and we will keep building on them.
Doc, thank you so much for making time to speak to the Zambians tonight on Diamond Live.
Thank you very much.
We've been analyzing and getting the perspective of the leadership movement on the announcement that the president made to the effect that there's going to be an introduction of voluntary national service soon. On behalf of the entire production crew, thank you so much for watching. My name is Andrew Mansa. See you again on Sunday for Costa, then on Monday for another edition of Diamond Live. Good night for now.